Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 70th episode of the Triboro Podcast. Nothing happened. We are not recording for any particular reason. Do not look at Nick. He is a bitch that no one loves, and he deserves a lifetime of punishment and eternal damnation.
I think we call that diabetes. I
Yeah,
deserve this.
You do deserve diabetes.
No, not diabetes.
Shut up. If you keep talking, I'll upgrade you to type 2, buddy.
No. Well, actually, I could get rid of type 2, so please
type 2 is better, yeah. But I'm your host, Justin Alonso, joined by Nicholas O'Brien. Nicholas O'Brien is not happy for any particular reason in general.
Do you want me to say it?
Just fucking Juan Soto, baby back bitch.
Juan Soto is a New York Metropolitan for the next 15 years.
Maybe.
Possibly. Most likely.
Guaranteed 5.
Guaranteed 5. We will be about 36 if this contract plays out.
Speak for yourself, motherfucker. I'll be 37.
Sorry. Yeah, fair enough. This is absolutely unprecedented.
Well, actually, no, the Mets aren't going to make a deep playoff run, so 36.
Completely unprecedented. There is no comparison. You can't even compare it to the Ohtani deal. This is a once-in-a-lifetime contract that is going to most likely change the landscape for a lot of players, but we'll get into the contract specifics real quick.
I was just going to say, as incredible as Juan Soto is, he's most likely going to be a DH / first base in next 6 years?
Yeah.
So that, for a first baseman,
insane.
I'm not...
I agree.
I like the deal for the Mets. I think for those type of players, you overpay.
You have to.
It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
But that is... I'm just telling Mets fans that, and this was a concern I had for the Yankees too. Those last maybe even 7 years, 6-7 years are going to be...
Yeah.
Especially if you void that opt-out, which you'll get into soon. You're paying him $55 a year. That's going to be...
Yeah. If he's league average, those waning years, you're happy.
The Mets are
ecstatic.
I was gonna say also a little handicap too by that. If you're doing that for a league average first baseman, /DH.
But the contract in itself is 15 years, $765 million. I did not think it was going past 7.
Dude, you look at just when the Yankees traded for him and the whole talk where people were like, give him a 13,550. Tell him, just give him. You know what? If you really want to make him sign, blow him out of the water, give him 15,600.
Right, 600 seemed like
insane.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Once you hit that, that's it.
Yeah.
My first prediction was I think it was 14,650.
Yeah.
On this show, and then for the Triboro Sports Show on our radio, go follow us in the description. I then upped my prediction to 15,675. Again, I did not think this was going past 7. And this contract has escalators in it that can take it to over 800.
Yeah.
Insane. Everyone talked about it for months and months about what contract he's going to get. And the last week, it seemed like 3 days, call it. 700 seemed more and more like that was the minimum.
I think the last week it seemed like it was building up to that.
That's fair. But to look at it, 15 years, $765 million. It's just insane. That is a $51 million per year average annual value for him.
Isn't it higher the first 5 years?
Mm-mm.
I thought it was 5,300. Oh no, because the signing bonus. Never mind.
Yeah. Like Justin mentioned, there is an opt-out. There's an opt-out after the 5th year, but it can be voided. Very similar to kind of like the Garrett Cole thing, where you opt out, they tack on an extra year at the end. But for Soto, it's if he opts out, it can be voided if the Mets add an additional $5 million per year from the 6th year onwards. So from year 6 to 15, he would be making $55 million a year. And then, like you mentioned, there is a $75 million signing bonus. So I'm not sure how that affects
I saw
things, but
I saw something about the luxury tax. Like what I forget who tweeted it though. But
as of right now, Spot Rock has it as 51 per year on the luxury tax.
on luxury, I think it was something else though, because of salary, because of the signing bonus.
Yeah, I know it. It did some stuff with Snell's contract.
I'll try and find it right now. But I remember seeing like again it was tweets
Yeah,
from like reporters, so I don't know how credible that is. But I'll try and find it right now as we are talking.
but yeah, just there's no deferred money at all.
I'm not shocked about that. Are you?
Shocked completely,
I'm not.
completely. I mean, look, you're dealing with Scott Boras, so I understand it. It's a once in a lifetime contract that he's never going to see ever again. So you want the most money you can get, but I thought maybe it would have been like 750, and then with deferrals you bring it down to 700 or maybe below that. But no deferrals, no nothing. Straight 51 a year, maybe 55 a year. No ifs, ands, or buts, nothing around it.
Yeah.
He is getting $765 million, and he could very well get over $800 million by the end of this contract.
Yeah.
For the Mets, this changes everything. The Mets just took a player from the Yankees. Go ahead, Justin.
So Soto will earn a total of $305 million during the first 5 years of his Mets deal, $220 million salary and $75 million signing bonus per source. That's an AAV of $61 million.
Okay, because
The signing bonus I don't think counts against the luxury
I
tax.
think the signing bonus is just straight up cash.
Yeah. But I think I bet the way they did it is they kind of just spread it out so it was more balanced. Like, here's a signing bonus right now. We'll still pay you this year too, but
Right.
whatever. But
yeah, I'm sure this happened 12 hours ago. Not even.
Yeah.
So it's
we don't know everything.
Right.
Like, that tweet was 11 hours ago.
yeah, exactly. Like there's going to be more stuff to come out and everything.
And that was by Feinstein, by the way.
Right. Yeah. So reputable. But the Mets just took a player from the Yankees who spent a year with the Yankees, who was on top of the Yankees list for the offseason.
And that's underselling it.
Yeah. And the Mets got him over the Yankees. That has happened never. This was the real first bidding war. I mean, you could call it Yamamoto from last year, but at the end of the day, he was going to the Dodgers.
The Yankees weren't that in on him.
Right.
Like, they were in on him, but at the same
They
time,
stopped
they
at
kind of
like 300, right?
they kind of knew that he wasn't going there, so they
Right.
kind of just
Backed off. But this was the first Steve Cohen versus the Steinbrenner. This changes everything. I mean, I can think of countless times, growing up, kind of like, oh, who's your favorite baseball team? It's like, oh, like I like the Mets. Like, oh,
poor
that
baby.
sucks. Yeah, exactly. I watched a offseason with the big gets being Rick Porcello, Michael Wacha, which looks really good now, but trust me, he was not good with the Mets, and the corpse of Dylan Betances.
Prime Dylan Betances, bro. But
This is unheard of as a Mets fan. The Mets never get the big free agent. The Mets never beat out the Yankees for a free agent. This changes a lot. This changes public perception. This changes player perception, agent perception, industry perception. This was as much money as this is, and as crazy as this contract is, this has a lot more to do than just Juan Soto. This means a lot to the Mets. This means a lot to Steve Cohen. This is the first player that he really could use his, call it financial might, to kind of will over. I mean, you could call it, Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander.
we were talking about it in the car about how like a week ago, or like last Wednesday, whenever, about how the Mets realistically never got that guy in free agency. You
Right.
could say Correa, but I wouldn't
But,
even
yeah.
consider
But then you backed out because
No, because not even that, because he was with the Giants.
right. Yeah.
And then
yeah.
he backed out of that, and then Cohen said, "Oh, what was the deal they offered you? Okay, here, I'll give you the same exact offer."
Yeah.
I think there was a couple
yeah,
small
it was
differences,
different, yeah.
but still, so like I wouldn't even really count that as
Yeah,
Cohen because
'cause
he
you
lost
wouldn't-
the
right.
lost the bidding war. The
Right.
Giants won the bidding war,
Yeah.
but because the Giants backed out, they
he
got
had
him
a
because
second
of that.
shot. Yeah.
Yeah,
And the biggest player he signed is Francisco Lindor, who he traded
was a
for
trade, yeah.
and extended.
yeah.
So this was the first gigantic free agent splash of Cohen's ownership tenure in what, year 5, going into year 5, because his first 21, 22, 23. Yeah, year 4.
Yeah.
Fourth offseason. Going into year 5 of his ownership. Because if he didn't get Soto, then, what's the point of being Steve Cohen, like the richest owner, all the talk about he has all this money, yada, yada, yada. That doesn't mean anything if you don't
Yeah.
sign him. So, again, this contract is insane. Even still looking at it right now in front of me, I can't believe that somebody's being paid this much money
For Bulgo Burr.
for Bulgo Burr. And this changes a lot for the New York Mets as an organization.
And it also is a thing to realize, like, after 3 or 4 years, most contracts look like a bargain.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge getting $36 a year right now
Holy
looks
crap.
like the biggest discount in baseball.
Even Ohtani's contract.
That's what
I know it's different because deferrals and shit. But,
yeah. I'm just trying to think like other guys too, like Jose Ramirez.
right. Lindor's extension looks amazing.
Yeah. Well, then again, with Ramirez, everyone knew that was like, why?
Yeah.
Like he just wanted to stay in Cleveland, but
Right.
like that looks like such a bargain. You could go down the list of how many guys that just look like bargains, and
Right.
that's because that is how the market works. That is why you don't, for generational talents, you don't give a shit how much money you got to spend. You spend that money.
You have to overpay.
And because it's an overpay now. In 2-3 years, it's not gonna
It might
be.
not be, yeah.
So especially with, because I mentioned this too, where I thought Soto would have had an opt out after the 3rd or 4th year, just because of the CBA expiring. So there would have
Yeah.
been different rules. So have that opt out with a new CBA, higher luxury tax thresholds, who'd get paid a lot more unless injuries happen, something like
Right.
that. Is this what? Yeah.
Probably. Some form of it. There's
Let-
definitely
let's
wood in it.
hope, yeah. But or at least for your sake. And also, okay, just because I mentioned it, any Yankee fan, because I've seen Yankee fans that are saying like, "Oh, I hope he tears his Achilles spring
Yeah.
training." Fuck you.
Ridiculous.
Like, fuck. Like I wanted Juan Soto. I lost respect for Juan Soto, but I'm not rooting for an injury on him. Like I just there's interviews where he's had in the past before he was on the Yankees where he talked about how much the pinstripes mean,
Mhm.
how players love the pinstripes, how much it means, and you're gonna leave over $5 million. Like, don't. It's different if like he wasn't that good with the Yankees. He didn't talk about how much he loved the pinstripes before he was even on the team when he was literally with the Washington Nationals.
Right.
And to do that, I lost respect for him. Like I just don't talk out of your ass. If you loved them that much, then you wouldn't have signed with the Mets. You would have taken the Yankees deal.
I mean, we also don't know the contract specifics. Maybe the Yankees had deferrals. Maybe they didn't.
There wasn't.
It wasn't.
I forget.
That's for sure.
I forget if it was Heyman or like Curry or someone, but like someone reputable said no
Really?
deferrals.
Okay. But maybe it was the AAV. But at the end of the day, it was money.
$3.5 million difference.
Yeah.
If you love a team, you love it that much, that doesn't make a difference.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if
Yeah, we didn't mention it. The Yankees offered 16 years, $760. Mets 15 years, $765.
I don't get that. I don't get that if you're Hal.
Yeah, I don't understand how.
I think
unless they didn't get the chance to match it.
What I saw happened was that the Yankees were ahead for essentially the entire thing. Then today, Steve Cohen just dropped a fucking bombshell of an offer. They told the Yankees that they were very far off. What I saw is they didn't get specific numbers.
Yeah.
So they just said like they were at like I think said 715, 720 range.
Yeah.
And they told them you guys are very far behind. Give us like another offer. And then but at the same time, that also doesn't make sense if you're Scott Boras to not say what the offer was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because say what the offer is. He was probably banking on Hal panicking and dropping $800 million,
Yeah.
something like that. But I don't know. It's so weird, but at the same time, like, people are giving Hal credit, like, oh, no one thought Hal was gonna go there, this, that. But at the same
This isn't
time,
a participation trophy.
yeah, especially with it's different if I can't even think of another player. If let's just say he didn't have injuries, if Fernando Tatis or Acuna was on the market,
Right.
then it'd be there's no one else
It's
on the
Juan
market.
Soto and everybody else.
Yeah, so it's like there's no
There's no backup.
There's no backup, and I'll get into who the backups are, and it's not fucking good, but it's just Hal. I will give credit because I did not expect him to go that far, but I'm not giving him a participation trophy for
Right.
doing that.
At the end of the day, he didn't get it done.
If you want this guy that much, why did that year matter?
Right.
If you wanted him that much, you know what? Fuck it. Take off 2 years, add more money. Make
Yeah.
it 14,770.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like $5 million should not have made a difference when you're already that deep in. Because I don't know your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was just flat out money. I think everything else is just kind of fluff. Like, because there was a tweet that I read to you before we recorded that, do you think that he knows who Jet Williams is?
Yeah.
Do you think he knows who, you could tell him Roger Arias' name and he's going to look at you like, huh?
Who's that?
And
Like, yes, he wants to know the future of the club, but he's not getting to specifics about your top 10 prospects, your
Yeah,
top
he
30
doesn't-
prospects.
he doesn't know that shit.
Because how many of those guys are actually going to play with him? How many of those guys are going to play with him and be good? How many of those guys are going to play with him and stay for an extended period of time?
finish out their rookie deals?
Right.
And if not get extended.
Right. Very little. Spoiler alert. Very little.
Yeah, it's just there's a stat that David Cohen always likes to say that if you make the major leagues, only 50% of players make it to arbitration.
Right.
Arbitration is going into your year 4. Only
Right.
less than 50% of people make it into year 4.
Yeah.
That's a crazy number.
That's insane.
You could look at up and down just how many guys have just burnt out, and it's like 1% of players that are in the minors make it to the major, something ridiculously low like that.
Right.
But I don't. It was just money. Like
Yeah, no, I agree. I do think there is a slight, like, hey, he bought into what Steve Cohen was telling him. Because I've said it from the beginning he was going to the highest bidder, and the Mets were. That's not debatable. They were up by $5 million. But my only argument is $5 million over 15 years.
It's $3.5 million different AAV.
Right. It's not.
And also with the difference between the Yankees and Mets is you could have made more in ad revenue and like sponsorships with the Yankees over the Mets.
Really? You think so? Same market.
Yeah, but the Yankees
30 minutes away.
with how big the Yankees brand is.
Yeah, I guess.
With how global the Yankees brand. Like you'll see, I forget who it was. I think it was like John Boy tweeted that like he landed in like Sydney, Australia.
I did see that.
Within 5 minutes he saw 3 Yankee hats.
Right. But that's Yankees as a brand. It's not even the team.
But that's what I'm saying.
I
The
guess.
brand itself is a lot more marketable and will give
I
you
get
a
what
lot.
you mean.
Because and this isn't a knock on the Mets, but right now, if you're an advertising company, you would pay a lot more for a Yankee than a Met. And again, that's not a knock on the Met. That's just history and like all that type of stuff. Now it may be different. It's gonna be a lot closer.
Right.
But
I'd love to see Mark Vientos on Paw Patrol.
exactly. But could you even imagine a Met on Paw Patrol?
No.
You know what I mean? Like
First of all, I couldn't imagine any baseball player on Paw
But that's what I
Patrol.
mean. The Yankees are so
Yes.
good that you'll have shit like that happen.
Yes, I get what you mean.
But I think the only other, because I'm not buying into the future shit, because I also think he wants to win now. And I think the Yankees are in a better win now period just because you have Judge and Cole and.
I would disagree. It's a 15-year contract. If he wanted to win now, he could take a 5-year contract with the Dodgers.
There. But I think
This is an investment for him as well. Same with the Mets. Juan Soto needs to invest in the team and the future of this team. Go ahead.
I think number one is the money, but I also think at the end of the day, and this was my biggest concern going in. I was more concerned about this than I was about the Yankees getting outbid.
Mm-hmm.
That he didn't want to play second fiddle to Judge. I think that's a big part of it because, honestly, at the end of the day, if it's $5 million and I know that I have the best hitter on the planet right now hitting behind me, I would take that. But if he didn't want to play second fiddle to him, he's going to go to Queens where
He's gonna be the
he's
guy.
going to be the he will go down as the best, at least hitter for the Mets in history. Maybe player.
Absolutely.
Maybe player. It just depends if he passes Tom Seaver. I think that's really the only.
Yeah. Tom Seaver is the.
Was he Mr. Met or was that someone else?
He's the franchise. His nickname is the franchise.
That's what it was. Okay, I knew it was like
Tom
something.
Seaver is miles ahead of any other Met than Dale Strawberry, Keith Hernandez, whoever you want to call. It's Tom Seaver and everyone else.
In the fact that he, at the end of this contract, even if he has just been what he has been, he will be the best Met of all time, I believe. I don't know how you feel about that, but
it's hard to argue
it's also so hard to compare.
Right, yeah, because you're talking about a guy who played in the 60s
also
to the
a
80s.
Pitcher, not even a hitter.
Right. But for argument's sake, he will go down as the best offensive Mets player in franchise history.
Yes.
And again, if like you said, if he's on the same trajectory, he'll be going into Cooperstown
as a Met
with a Mets cap.
No, he'll split it with the Yankees.
For that 1 year.
Yeah, for that 1 year, but it was a magical year.
He really loved Aaron Judge dropping fly ball.
Shut up. But what I can't even remember what I was gonna say, but
future culture.
I don't even
respect.
I don't know. I still. Oh yeah. So another thing too, and this doesn't matter to guys like Soto, where if he did stay with the Yankees, and I thought this was going to be a very underrated selling point, but if he stays with the Yankees, he would have gone to Monument Park, as long as he doesn't get hurt, and he would have been the first Dominican in Monument Park.
That's pretty cool.
You know what I mean? So I don't think that's
not nothing.
That's not nothing, especially because. Oh God, am I really about to say this?
Oh boy.
Us as Americans, we don't really have that same pride that a lot of like the other countries have in their countries. Look at the World Cup. Look at the WBC. Especially with baseball, look at Japan and the WBC, how crazy they went. Look at how all the different Hispanic countries with like Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, even Mexico, how wild they went. Even Cuba, because they were playing in Miami.
Yeah.
How wild they got for it. So
it's not the same here.
It's not the same. It's hard for the American mind to comprehend.
No,
I'm making
it is.
a joke out of it.
100% is. You know?
So
yeah, the only thing about that, and this is not a knock. This kind of just is more so, just very telling of the Yankees' history. He'd be another stone in Monument Park. You know, with the Mets, he's the guy. You know, again, like we said, he can be quite possibly.
He may not even make the Yankees Mount Rushmore.
Right, exactly. Like there is a long list that Soto would have to pass to be in the upper echelon of Yankees. And again, that just speaks volumes about their history. Yeah. That's not a knock.
If anything, it's
a knock on the Mets.
I was gonna say it's more like a praise.
Yeah.
It's a praise over a knock.
But yeah, again, with the Mets, he's gonna be the guy for years to come. I can very well have kids and Juan Soto will still be a Met.
Yeah.
That's insane.
But it's also a thing of I don't get for anyone that is burning a Juan Soto jersey.
I can't with that.
It depends.
Okay.
If it says his name, I may not like it.
Yeah.
But I can at least see anger or whatever. But if it doesn't say his goddamn name,
you can reuse
and it's a number 22 jersey, are you kidding me?
That's going to be a prime time number.
Are you kidding me?
Somebody will
Spencer Jones
will wear 22 next year.
Honestly?
Oh my God, imagine.
No, I think
Dominguez?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Is Dominguez Dominican?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Because that was a big talking point in spring training about how Dominguez should learn from Soto because they're pretty similar.
I'd kind of love that. I'm not gonna lie.
He's too stocky.
What, Dominguez?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I kind of see 22 for kind of like that
like
more leaner, kind of like lanky. Even though Soto's not lean,
Yeah.
but you kind of get what I mean.
I get what you mean.
Like, I thought they were going to give Dominguez 11.
Mm-hmm.
Before Volpe got 11, I really thought Dominguez was going to get 11.
Yeah.
But I see like 22 is more like, and this is ironic, but I see it more as like a speed guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that if the Yankees trade for Cody Bellinger, I could see him as 22.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Again, completely off topic, but
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
oh,
But I do have a few points I want to get to here
yeah.
that, we talk about the contract. We talk about what he can be. I will say it here first. He will not live up to this contract from a value standpoint. He will not live up to this contract whatsoever. And I say that because I look at Fangraph's values, which basically equates the amount of WAR a player accumulates throughout the season into money. A 7 WAR season is about $55 million.
I was thinking about this last night.
To hit the around, because it's not going to be perfect, is rough math. To hit $765 million in 15 years, you would have to accumulate 105 WAR in 15 years, which would put him 6th highest of all time.
I was going to say, he's a top 5 outfielder of all time if he does that minimum.
Yeah. That is just below Hank Aaron. He's not living up to that contract.
People don't...
I'll be happy to eat my words. There's no shot he ends up top 6.
I'll be honest,
WAR.
I would not be shocked looking at it now if the Mets don't exercise the opt-out or the opt-back in.
You'd be shocked if they don't?
I wouldn't be shocked if they don't.
Okay.
Just because, like you're saying, how much is... Like, I could see it being a thing of... Because I said this with the Yankees, too. I don't think I said it on the air or anything, but I would love for the Yankees to absolutely front-load the hell out of this contract for the first how many ever years, because you knew there was going to be an opt-out. How many ever years before the opt-out, just front-load it, and if he opts out,
okay,
so be it. But you're still getting 5 years of elite production.
Yeah.
And you're getting his prime years, and then he goes somewhere else and just...
See what happens.
Yeah, so, honestly, again, this is so far down the line.
Right.
But
It's 5 years from now.
I wouldn't be shocked if the Mets don't end up doing it just because of what you said of...
There's no way he's living up to this.
Because people... That's another thing, too, that people don't realize how Hank Aaron is, what would you say, the third best outfielder of all time? Bonds Mays above him?
I was just going to say, yeah.
I don't really think
people will argue
Griffey,
2,
but
whatever.
I don't think that there's an argument really for Griffey when you really look at
when you look at the injuries and everything.
I was going to say just more Hank Aaron.
That too.
Just how absurd his numbers are, that people don't realize how insane and consistent you have to be. Because Juan Soto, he's been a bill of health, but say something happens, he does something because he's so lower body focused in his swings. Say something happens to his hips or his knees. What if he's not the same?
Yeah.
We've seen this. Mike Trout was on pace to be like the second or third greatest player of all time. Again,
look at him.
Freak thing, all that. But it's a big contract. Obviously, a lot of risk to put that much money in one player. I said the same thing about Ohtani, but Soto has a lot more clean bill of health. This was the first year he really got injured, and even then it was a fluke thing. It was on a slide, and he only missed like 2 or 3 games.
Right.
So again, love the contract for the Mets, but just because you love a contract doesn't mean there's no risk.
Yeah.
And that's not me coping.
No, I 100% agree.
If I'm the Yankees, I am signing this, and I would have paid more.
Yeah.
If I had to pay more for Soto, I 100% would have done it.
Right. Again, we said at the beginning, like, you have to overpay for guys like these. This is an albatross of a player. This is not... We're not going to see another Juan Soto.
I thought you said Alcatraz.
No.
I was like, what? I was like, how is he in Alcatraz? Like, what?
But I don't know the next time we're going to see a 26-year-old free agent. You know,
that too. That's ridiculous.
We were...
Maybe Dominguez.
Maybe.
But that's even projecting that he makes it that far.
And that's projecting he's even as good as Juan Soto to get this amount of money.
Oh, I wasn't even saying that. I was just saying purely age.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You know, we a couple of the roommates and I were talking, just joking around, it's like, who's going to be the first $1 billion player? It's probably a lot closer than you think.
this will be a funny thing that if we're still doing the podcast, then will someone hit $1 billion before Soto's opt out?
So call it in 5 years. Are we gonna have a $1 billion contract?
Yes. There's maybe
can't
one
even
guy I could
who's even a free agent.
There's one guy I could maybe think of, but I don't know if he's even it because I can't remember if they extended him or not. Let me.
I don't even know.
And I don't think he gets it, especially because I think he only has. Never mind. He did sign an extension. I was thinking, again, maybe Bobby Witt,
I see.
but he signed an extension. But again, that was like a.
Yeah, no, you're thinking the Bobby Witts, the Ellie De La Cruzes.
That may not be a bad one, but I think he's got a lot of holes in his game to fix before that.
Absolutely.
If O'Neal Cruz wants to just if O'Neal Cruz cuts down on his strikeouts, he could be. Wait. I may have cooked.
If O'Neal Cruz is just good at baseball, he might be really good at baseball.
I may cook. I just have to check how many more years this guy has.
What, Cruz or another guy?
All right, never mind. He has a lot of years left. How old is he?
Who are you thinking?
Oh yeah, he'll be 31 when he's a free agent. Acuna.
Yeah.
I didn't know how many he has. 1, 2, 3, 4 more years.
The Braves kidnapped him and forced him
he's
to
a
sign
free
an
agent at
extension.
31, has 2 ACL injuries or 2 torn ACLs.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I was. But that's the point.
It's not out of the question.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks volumes.
Especially with the new CBA happening and
right. Who knows?
Contracts just.
This contract is a byproduct of supply and demand. Again, this is Juan Soto. There's no other Juan Soto.
Like exactly how Ohtani's was.
Right. And the fact this is the only sport that does not have a salary cap.
Which people got to that's why I would have given Juan Soto as much as he asked for because
it does not matter.
Like granted, you're going to lose draft picks, you're going to do this, that.
Right. The Mets are losing a draft pick because they're signing Juan Soto. Nobody cares.
Well, I was more so saying the luxury tax penalties.
Right, that too. But yeah, no, you're right. But from the qualifying offer, the Mets are losing a draft pick. And the Yankees are gaining one, so congrats.
4th round pick. Like, bullshit. Like, how is Soto only worth I don't get how that works.
It's general. It's not based on the player.
But I saw stuff saying that the Yankees would, if they signed other guys, it would be, like, 2nd round picks. But it is general?
I'm pretty sure it's generalized.
Okay.
The Mets are getting a 4th rounder for Severino.
Mm-hmm.
So we could look into it later, but
yeah.
Where was I going with this? Yeah. There's no salary cap. There's only one Juan Soto and Steve Cohen. And yes, you can look at it and be like, this is a lot of money. Nobody deserves this amount of money. I would agree. I'm not discounting that. But these owners are millions and billionaires.
Steve Cohen's net worth is what, 20
billion? Something insane.
21.3 billion.
Every team owner could do this if they really wanted to.
Like Steve
maybe not every. Maybe not like the Rays or something, but
no, they could. I'm pretty sure their owner is like Let me look at this. Rays owner, so Stuart Sternberg. Let me look up his net worth. Why is this so complicated? I just want to see his. Okay, only 800 million, but
yeah, but still, for the most part, any team could do this. Any team could have went out and signed Juan Soto if the owners are willing to pay for it.
Like, I just want to say this: Hal Steinbrenner, he offered more than half his net worth.
Right.
To get Juan Soto, he has 1.5 billion net worth. He
Right.
offered double a Judge. You add up Judge and Cole, 2 generational players. You add up their contracts, that doesn't get to Juan Soto.
So it's a lot of money, but any team owner can do this. So I'm not gonna go cry a river for these millionaires who didn't want to pony up for a once in a lifetime player.
Yeah. No, I agree.
At the end of the day, that's what it is, because Steve Cohen was willing to go the extra mile, and everyone else wasn't. You got to remember, from all reports, all the teams are in it till the end. the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, the Dodgers, obviously Yankees and the Mets. I did not expect that. I'll
I
be
thought it was
frank.
Mets, Yankees the
Yeah.
entire way.
The Red Sox
Did-
seemed like they were genuinely interested, so good for them.
Did
but
their offers come out?
not that I saw. But I think that's what drove up the price as well. Because I thought there was going to be really maybe 3 like genuinely in teams. I thought it was going to be Mets, Yankees, and maybe like the Blue Jays. I don't think the Dodgers ever hit 700, but the Dodgers hit 600 million.
I think it was also shorter term.
Right.
Boston's last and final offer was around 700 million for 15 years.
Right. So that is 3 teams that we know of willing to go 700. I don't know about the Blue Jays.
I think the Blue Jays did too. I can't. It says there are suggestions that offer went way below 700.
Way below 700. Okay. So
I didn't really.
the Blue Jays are just, they have a lot of other issues. So that's 3 teams willing to pay somebody $700 million. Go ahead.
What's it called? Ken Rosenthal and Brendan Cuddy both said the Dodgers capped their offer to Soto at $600 million.
600, yeah. So that's the minimum. It started at 600. And then you had 3 teams willing to go 700, which then, of course, supply and demand, people are willing to pay more. Scott Boras is going to raise the price on a pristine product.
And just because this popped up, how I mentioned earlier, how contracts look like bargains. Corey Seager, 10-325.
Right.
He won World Series MVP. He was the biggest driving force behind that team making it. Maybe can argue Adolis, but
still.
Yeah, still. He won 2 World Series MVPs, incredible hitter of the postseason, and
yeah, and now it's looking like an underpay.
Yeah.
But that's really all I got on the contract itself. We could go circles and circles around what this contract means and everything, but from the player perspective, the Mets are getting a guy who averages in 162 games, 6.3 WAR. He hits 285. He gets on base at a 420 clip. He slugs 532. He has an OPS of 953 and a 158 career WRC plus. He averages 35 home runs with 102 RBIs.
And the thing is, you said
It's
per
insane.
162, he's playing at least 150 a year.
Right.
Like, you look at his box score, take out 2020 and 2018 because he came up like 2 months into the season. I'd bet he played at least 150 in every year. I know he played 162 for the Padres in 23. He played like 155 to 160 for the Yankees this year. He plays every game.
He does.
He does. And the thing is, too, and this may be a detriment, honestly, he does not want a DH.
Mhm.
He is saying, I'm playing every game and I'm playing the field.
Right.
That may not be
Yeah.
the best thing on the planet, but that's just who Juan Soto is. He
Right.
will. People were fearing that he tore his UCL, and he was like, I am playing. I am
Right.
playing.
He wants to be on the field, which you got to respect. But yeah, to your point, the only times he did not reach the 150 mark is 2020, so throw it out, and his rookie year, 2018.
And he came up 2 months into the season.
Right. But besides that, his lowest game played is 150 on the dot, which was 2019.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And they won a World Series, so.
right. So he plays day in, day out, and you're getting a guy who is a 160, call it, weighted runs created plus bat. It's going to hit you 35 to 40 home runs. And he just he made changes with the Yankees that improved his overall production.
I will say, how much of that do you think was stadium plus just being in front of Judge when Judge won the MVP?
Maybe. I don't buy protection all that much. You look at everything, there's nothing telling you that it's mental, which you can't quantify.
Mm-hmm.
But from a pure numbers perspective, there is nothing telling you that this guy is going to do any worse because he's not batting in front of Judge. I mean,
I'm not saying, I'm just saying I think the reason he had a career year was, one, I think he's just that guy, that the pressure of a career or a contract year. plus just having Aaron Judge behind him. I think that's something that,
Maybe.
like you said, you can't really quantify.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's gonna be like a 120 WRC plus.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that at all. But
Instead of 180,
yeah,
he'll be 160.
yeah, 150, like something like that.
In 2021, he had if a very iffy Nationals team, he had a 164 weighted runs created plus. 2023 with the Padres, he had a 154.
Yeah.
So, again, might not be 180, but he's still going to be really, really good. And he underperformed his expected weighted on base by over 40 points.
Yeah.
So, there's sizable changes that he made. He hit less ground balls. He hit the ball harder. A lot of under the hood stuff that looks good. And then you look at his numbers at Citi Field.
God.
35 games at Citi Field. He hits 333, 466 on base, 709 slugging for a 1.175 OPS, the 5th highest OPS at a park for his career with 12 home runs.
No.
He hits very well at Citi Field. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. But he hits very well there.
Yeah.
And then we'll touch on his defense really quick. Yes, he had -5 outs above average in 2024. Starling Marte had -8. Juan Soto is a defensive upgrade from Starling Marte.
And I will say this. I don't know what the hell happened, if it was just short sample size, whatever, but the first 2 months, Juan Soto looked really good in the field. He had the first game of the season, he had that incredible play to, I forget who the runner was, but to nail the runner against the Astros.
Yeah.
After making that a great catch. So it's
his arm, it has always graded out really good.
Yeah, so it's a thing of like, I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah.
Because wasn't there like a year or two where he graded out as like a really like an elite defender?
I think 2021, I believe.
It was like 90th and outs above average, like 90th percentile, something crazy like that.
2019, he graded as 6 outs above average.
Or I meant like do you know the percentile?
No.
I could get there right now.
Wait, and there you go. That's 90th.
Yeah.
I think he also had like another year where he was pretty good. Yeah, in 2021 with 4 outs above average, he ranked in the 88th percentile.
Yeah. You said 21?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in there somewhere. I'm not sure where, but it's in there.
Yeah. But
and then you have Jose Siri, who's an elite center fielder, instead of Aaron Judge, who this is not really a knock on him. He's just not a center fielder. He grades to an average to below average center fielder. Jose Siri is one of the best in the sport patrolling center field. So you add that together, you could take some away from Soto, and he might grade out better.
Just to play devil's advocate, bigger right field. You know what?
If Starling Marte can do it with 2 groin surgeries, Juan Soto can. And do it, not well.
Yeah, it's obviously not a knock. I'm just like, it's something that
it is.
should be said.
Yeah, it's the dimensions of the park. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I really wish you could look, see how he graded out at different parks, but that's a discussion.
Because just a thing with Yankee Stadium that you play a lot more shallow. Because especially in right field, because if the ball's above your head, chances are it's gone. And if it's not gone, it's off the wall, and it's a smaller right field. So worst case scenario, the guy's gonna get a double, which he would have got anyways. Which you take that trade off. So it's gonna be very interesting. Where
definitely
he was misplaying a lot of balls that he just shouldn't have misplayed at Yankee Stadium. See how in a bigger outfield how it's gonna be. Again, just should be something to be noted.
Yeah, but absolutely. But yeah, that's really all I got. Again, we could talk in circles about Juan Soto, the player, and the contract, and just the insanity. But it's over. Both teams need to move on. Obviously, the Yankees have a much steeper hill to climb than the Mets, but the offseason has just started. The winter meetings are starting today. There should be a lot more activity, I would think, especially now that Soto's off the board.
Like, I am absolutely floored that both Snell and Adames signed before Soto.
Yeah,
I am
Adames
Adames
especially.
especially. I am floored that I think Adames he made what 188.
Something like that. Like I think
I
it was like 182.
I
But
think he
whatever.
could have got like 220,
Right.
225 now that Soto's
Yeah.
signed.
Because both New York teams were linked to him as a backup plan. But look, he wouldn't have played shortstop with either of them, so maybe he just wanted to play shortstop. But so Justin, if you wanted to take us to what's going on in your head, and what do you think? Where do the Yankees go from here?
I go both ways, where there is a very direct comparison that can be made between this offseason and the 2014 offseason, where they lost out on Robinson Cano. So what they did was they just went on a spending spree and overpaid for guys. Your Brian McCanns, your Jacoby Ellsbury, I believe there was someone else. I could look that up right now. 2014 Yankees offseason. Let's see it. So it was Carlos Beltran.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I think there was like one or two more guys, but they just spent out. So that is the worst thing you could do. Just go on a spending spree, overpay for guys that aren't worth it.
You talked about it last week.
We talked like that. I'm worried about that it's going to be another 2014 offseason where they're like, shit, like we lost on Soto. We got to make moves like this, whatever. And the thing is that I see a lot of people saying to pivot to Burns or Fried. They don't need pitching. I've been a proponent of pitching isn't going to fix this team. Frankly, it's not, because you have a very good starting rotation. You have a shit ton of depth. We talked about on the radio. What did we get to? 10 or 11 starters?
Something like that.
Something insane like that. And because people talk about the Mets pitching, or you talk about like the Mets, how they have a lot of depth in the rotation in the minors. The Yankees have more.
More, yeah, absolutely.
A lot more.
And probably better.
I was going to say also higher end starters to begin with in the first place. So, just because it goes both ways, where I don't want them to just dish out contracts, but at the same time, they do have a lot of holes to fill.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to cope and say, oh, it's better this way. It's not. It is frankly not. But I could see a world where they're only a little bit less competitive, but they fill a lot of the holes. And because you can look at it this way, American League's a lot easier than NL right now.
Yeah. The Mets will still need to face the Dodgers year in, year out. This is not, like, I've seen people kind of like, even some reporters saying, like, World Series contenders and stuff. The Mets still have a lot to prove.
Yeah, they're World Series contenders, but
they're
at the
not
same
favorites.
time, yeah.
At all.
If I don't see how someone could put the Dodgers over, or the Mets over the Dodgers.
You can't. You can't. I still don't know if they're better than the Braves right now. Obviously, there's still a lot of offseason.
Maybe even,
I wouldn't even call them like, division favorites.
You can make it. I wouldn't make the argument I think they're better than them, but you could even make an argument for the Phillies.
Right.
Too. And I think you'd probably agree with me. I think the Mets are better than the Phillies right now. But then
I don't know.
But that's the thing.
It's
you
an
don't
argument
know because
100%.
Because one of my big concerns with Juan Soto is when you sign a guy like that, you don't know how they're going to be with your team. You don't know if, again, this is not the case. But what if him and Francisco Lindor hate each other?
Right.
Like literally at each other's throats every day, and you have them both for the next 10 years, 9 years together.
Lindor has
whatever,
8,
just
9. Yeah.
Call it 8-9 years together. So I don't think that's gonna happen at all.
Yeah, but still, you don't know how they're gonna mesh.
Yeah, but looking at backup options for the Yankees, the only world I see them getting a Max Fried is if they trade like 2 or 3 starters for a bat. Even then, the bat that you would be getting, I don't. Because if you're trading for Bellinger, or are you giving to the Cubs?
Right.
Maybe Cortez. But because you're going to need a dump Stroman too. You're not going to dump Stroman in that deal. So.
I don't even call it dumping Stroman. Like, I think Stroman could get like someone, not sizable, but like for this market at $18 million a year, I think some team is going to definitely find interest in that.
Okay, well, whatever.
But yeah, still, I don't think he's gonna get you a big bat, but he can get you like a
Be a
good,
part of a package,
right,
maybe,
or like a good reliever.
But I just a lot of the backup plans are Cody Mellinger, Nico Horner, Alex Bregman, Pete Alonso, Christian Walker. Trying to think, is there anyone else big that I'm missing? Maybe Paul Goldschmidt. I've even seen
Did you say Teoscar?
Oscar. That's what I was
Yeah.
forgetting. Seeing people floating the idea maybe they bring back Glaber now,
Right.
but
Yeah, I mean, look. I'm looking at the unsigned free agents with Fangraphs. This is projected WAR. I mean, it's Alex Bregman, Corbin Burns, Max Fried, Glaber Torres,
yeah.
and we both like Glaber.
Yeah, I think I
But
would
there-
love for him to be back,
there-
especially with how small his market is right now.
There is a drop off there,
Yes.
and then after Glaber, it's Han-Sung Kim, Pete Alonso, Anthony Santander, Christian Walker, Teoscar Hernandez.
That's the thing. I do not want Santander.
Neither do I.
I
Well,
don't. I
obviously,
think he
but-
is a Walmart Juan Soto.
Yeah,
He's not even a Walmart. What's worse than Walmart? Like
7-Eleven.
like he's a 7-Eleven Juan Soto.
Yeah, his career on base percentage is around 300.
Yeah.
It's not that contract's not going to age well. Yeah, if I'm
He is Juan Soto with Javi Baez's plate discipline.
Yeah, if I'm the Yankees, I'm staying far away from Santander.
I really hope that. Because my thing too is the only, and I mean most likely only silver lining of not getting Soto is that Judge is going to right field.
Yeah.
So why am I getting Santander to put him in right?
Right.
That's
yeah.
my only thing with Teoscar. My only thing. Like if they put Dominguez in center, then you're having Teoscar on left. I love it.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think Teoscar came up as a left fielder. He played
played
left
left,
field
yeah.
with the Dodgers.
Well,
yeah.
it's more so if they're willing to put Dominguez in center.
Yeah.
That's more so
yeah,
what
that's more the conversation.
thing is. But yeah, I would love that if because they also struggled against lefties. And you talked about it all last offseason.
I wanted him.
Mauls lefties.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love Teoscar with the thing of with the
beardless Teoscar.
what's the word? Not prerequisite. Condition?
I guess. I think
With
I
the
think I get what
condition-
you're saying.
Of Judge not playing center.
Yeah.
Because if you do that and then Judge playing center, I don't.
Yeah. For health, and again, he does not grade that great in center field.
And he's an elite right fielder.
Right.
People forget how elite. Like the fact
Remember
that
the judges' chambers?
That-
Where's that?
That too. But the fact that he's never won a Gold Glove
Yeah.
is shocking. Right? He literally won the Rawlings Gold Glove,
Right.
or like the not
other
official
one.
Gold Glove, but like
Yeah.
the other one. And there's this one I would love for them to do.
Mhm.
Do you think that and you mentioned him too? I'm not gonna claim like the fucking like I'm original on this, but say that the Astros want to rebuild. Kyle Tucker's a free agent, because I've been seeing a lot of people saying that Kyle Tucker is like that's who they should go for next offseason. I agree. They should throw a brink truck.
They should go for him now.
That's what I'm gonna say. Like you trade and extend him. Because again, baseball trade value, it's not perfect. There's a lot of issues I have with the formula, but he's graded at about like a 31.
Mm-hmm.
In a heartbeat, I am trading away. You take out Dominguez, I'm trading away any prospect for him.
Yeah.
I love Spencer Jones, but that strikeout rate's concerning. Ship
Take
him
him.
off. Take him.
They need a first baseman.
Who?
The Astros. They
Ben
could
Rice.
Yeah. Because you look at them right now, they obviously need a third baseman unless they re-sign Bregman.
If they don't re-sign Bregman, I think they rebuild. I don't know if
wonder
that's a
who said
hot
that.
take or you said that.
I did say that.
But
But no, definitely. I think they've already had, because I remember, I didn't read it, but there was something about the Phillies were checking in on Tucker, and I don't think the Astros were saying no. But yeah, I mean, look, say they trade Tucker. You need a right fielder. You could probably upgrade center field. Chas McCormick is in left field. He dropped off a cliff last year.
he was so good in 23.
Third base, obviously you need to fix there. And then first base.
Tuve's not getting any younger.
Right.
And
so
he had a lot of injuries last 2 years, right?
I believe so. He's definitely missed some time.
2023, he broke his wrist in the WBC.
Yeah.
Last year, he had injuries too. So he's missed a lot of time too.
Right.
He's
And
not
he's
getting
34.
younger.
He's 34. He's going to be 35 in May.
Yeah.
Yeah, to your point, he only played 90 games in 23.
Oh.
In 2024, he won 53.
I don't
still
know how he did last year, but German Pena's not as good as people think he is. He's an average player.
Right. And then you look at the rotation. Framber, obviously, really good. Hunter Brown.
A lot of injuries in that rotation.
Yeah. Ronel Blanco, he's coming off, highest innings of his career year.
Very, I don't want to say fluky, but just a kind of where did that come? Like that
right.
journeyman
you can't bank on him putting up a 2.8 ERA again.
Almost a Nestor 2022.
Right.
But even then, I think that's disrespectful to Nestor.
Yeah, Spencer Arrighetti, who had a 4.5. Luis Garcia, who's coming off of Tommy John. J.P. France had Tommy John. Christian Javier had Tommy John. Lance McCullers is always hurt. And they, it worked out for them, but they traded a decent haul for Yusei Kikuchi. So they could also rebuild their farm system at lower levels. Yes, they'd probably like major league ready guys, but you can also give them, an A-ball player, a double-A player.
Arias.
Right. And they're also trying to shop Brian Presley, who has a sizable contract, Tucker, Presley
Only
deal.
team that Presley can't pitch against is the Yankees,
Can't beat him. But absolutely, if Tucker's available, he's number one.
Yeah, I don't think that they should significantly overpay for any. Obviously, you're going to overpay free agents. That's just how the market is. I don't think there's any guys that you should significantly overpay for, except Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
In their careers on a 162 game basis, Kyle Tucker has a higher WAR than Juan Soto. I think he
brings elite defense.
I think it's 5.6 for Tucker per 162 to 5.5 for Soto. So, and like you said, it's not the bat, it's the defense. Obviously, Kyle Tucker has a great bat. I think he would fit in really well with Yankee Stadium. So if you do something like, because I don't even know, because if you get, I think right now, if it's so tough, because I really think Bellinger's a Yankee.
Mm-hmm. I think they kind of go hard for him.
For better or for worse, say what you want about Bellinger.
Mm-hmm.
We can go back and forth all day on this, but let's just, for argument's sake, pencil him in.
Yeah, at center field.
Are you getting another outfielder?
Yeah, because then you got Judge in right, Dominguez in left.
I think the only
Bellinger in center.
Because that's another thing too that you mentioned, that if he is playing first base, his value drops off a cliff. So if you get him in center field, it's a lot more value. Granted, he can play first base. Maybe if he signed, how many years do you think Teoscar's getting?
Call it 3.
Okay, so it's gonna be longer than Bellinger.
The median, because Fangraphs does like the median projections.
Yeah.
Their median projections 3 years for 69, so 23 a year.
Yeah.
I think that's about right.
I don't even care about the money. I just care about the years.
He is out. He's 32.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a fourth year.
Option, vesting option, something along those lines.
The way the market's going, I wouldn't be shocked to get. I think Tyler O'Neill got 3, so I think that's
shocking.
Yeah, that is the starting point. I'm going to see what O'Neill got 349.5, whatever. Call it 350. So that's probably the starting point for Teoscar.
Yeah. If I had to make like a perfect offseason for the Yankees, I don't even know what I would say.
Still a fresh wound.
Not even that.
Time to heal.
It's not even that. It's just
this free agent market is not great.
I'm trying to think of
from the beginning.
The only real guy that I was very bullish on for trading for the infield was Jonathan India. He just got traded for. So Horner I really like, but that's a league average bat.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the incredible defense, stuff like that, but if you want to try and replace Juan Soto, Nico Horner's not doing that. So I don't even know. I think you would maybe, I could see a world where Pete Alonso, they sign him and he has that chip on his shoulder from the Mets, like, oh, you chose him over me. I was your franchise guy. This, that. Like, I'm making a stretch here. I'm just making an argument. And he played well against the Yankees. His great numbers at Yankee Stadium. A Christian Walker. I think that I would not have any issues with them signing a big first baseman. It's everything else that concerns me.
Yeah.
But even then, they've been floating the idea around Darren Judge going to first base. How many years do you think Alonso's getting?
Who knows?
5,
I
6?
think we're definitely going to start getting it soon, but minimum 5.
Yeah. So
if argument's sake, call it 6. I think I penciled him getting 6 in my projections.
I don't see a timeline for the Yankees where he makes sense.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to move, I think Christian Walker's kind of the...
Yeah, because he's definitely like 3, 4 max.
I can't see 4.
Neither can I.
Maybe if the Yankees get that desperate because of Soto.
Yeah, he's 34, so...
Yeah, I think they go... I don't want to say stopgap because that's kind of disrespectful to Christian Walker.
Yeah.
But kind of like nothing more than 4 years.
Right.
Just because then you plan to move Judge, all that. But I don't know. Christian Walker, then Cody Bellinger in center, or Dominguez, or whatever. Then you still need another infielder.
Right.
So
we don't think Durbin kind of takes
can't.
it?
You can't. I'm sorry. If you're the New York Yankees, you called yourself the mecca of baseball offseason. Your answer to losing Juan Soto is rolling out Caleb Durbin.
Fair.
You know what I mean? I think Caleb Durbin is getting way overhyped right now. I'm high on Durbin. I'm pretty high on Durbin, but I think people are freaking the fuck out about Caleb Durbin. You got to realize he wasn't even a top 30 prospect. The Braves gave him away for cheap. Granted, sometimes those guys pan out. Sometimes.
Right.
When I mean sometimes, I mean
Sometimes.
1% of the time.
Yeah.
2% of the time. Like, barely ever those guys pan out. He's also a short motherfucker. He's 5'6". So I don't know. They got a lot of heavy lifting. I think they got to get creative. They got to get creative.
I think creative is the right word.
Because I'm trying to think realistically, who do you go after? Like,
I know you said they don't need pitching, but they've talked to the White Sox about Garrett Crochet.
I think that'd be such a mistake. Just where they are right now, because right now, would you, with contracts included, would you rather, for the Yankees, would you rather Kyle Tucker or Garrett Crochet?
Oh, Tucker.
That's
yeah.
That's my thing. I would much rather overpay for Kyle Tucker than overpay for Crochet.
Mm-hmm.
And I also just think that the Red Sox and not Blue Jays, but I think the Red Sox specifically have a lot more prospect capital. I think that my prediction on Garrett Crochet is the Yankees are going to be in it to the end, but they're going to get outbid by the Red Sox just on a pure prospect capital basis.
Yeah, they want infielders or at the very least position players, and the Red Sox have like 5 in the top 100.
Yeah.
So
I think like 5 in the top 50.
Right.
Something crazy.
Yeah,
like
it's
that,
something insane. So like you said, they definitely have a lot to deal from.
So,
but he could very well be traded by the end of the winter meetings. So we'll have an answer soon, I think.
Yeah. I'm just, I think the only way that you could put a bandage on this is Kyle Tucker. And even then, a bandage.
Right. You're bleeding out, and here's a Band-Aid.
Yeah. I think this is the perfect. You just got a gunshot wound. Kyle Tucker's a flare.
Right.
To cauterize that wound.
Yeah.
It's going to hurt like a motherfucker. Still going to not be the best because you got a bullet inside of you. But that's your best option.
It's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing. And that's only if you extend him, too. If you sign... Yeah. If you trade for 2 outfielders in back-to-back years and you don't get either of them, 2 elite outfielders in back-to-back years...
Malpractice.
That's horrible. Like, I get it. Juan Soto was never going to sign an extension. I don't blame him because look what happened. People were saying 600 the max, and he got another 165 fucking million. But, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yankees definitely have a tough hill to climb. There's no way around it. The Mets would have had the same thing. I think a little worse.
I think it would have been worse for the Mets.
Yeah.
Because I think the Yankees that having Judge Soto...
I was just going to say that.
Because I saw people mention this on Twitter that them having Soto masks so many of their problems.
Mm-hmm.
This offense is not that good. It's not that... It was maybe a top 8 offense with Judge and Soto, but that's because you had 2 MVP candidates. 2 guys finished in top 3.
Yeah, first and third.
Now you're expecting a big leap from Volpe. You're expecting Austin Wells, where I think Austin Wells got just... It was the wrist injury plus just getting
overworked.
But now you're putting he got overworked. So what are you doing? You're putting more pressure on him.
Right. Now he's the everyday catcher, and he needs to produce.
Jazz fell off at the end of the year. You literally only have Aaron Judge, but even then, Judge is getting older.
Right.
So it's
you can't expect him to hit 50 bombs a year and be an MVP year in, year out.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the reality. He's going to be MVP candidate year in, year out, but you can't expect him to be the best right-handed hitter of all time year in, year out.
Literally had the best right-handed hitting season of all time.
Right.
With Juan Soto having one of the most ridiculous seasons of recent memory for the Yankees. You take out Aaron Judge, he had the best Yankee season, and I can't even...
Yeah.
That 07 A-Rod, like that... Maybe even better than that. I don't know. I never compared the numbers, but it truly is just one of those things of without Soto, you gotta get fucking creative.
Yeah. I think you gotta raise the floor, not necessarily the ceiling.
I agree too. I think the only ceiling play is Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
Everything else is a floor.
Yeah. Improve on the margins.
And
trust your development.
My thing is, I just don't know if they could trade for both Tucker and Bellinger. And to me, Bellinger almost feels like an 80% chance that happens.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. Curry kind of seemed pretty confident in that.
I almost felt like it was a thing of they wanted to see what happened with Soto first, but there was kind of like that handshake agreement. Again, that's speculation. I don't know what's going on.
The Triboro Podcast does not have sources.
Triboro sources, but
the Triboro sources.
Yeah.
When we make it big, that's what's gonna be.
What do you mean when? But that's all I got. If you had any finishing touches.
Yeah, I mean, quickly on the Mets. This team's not perfect. It's a lot better with Juan Soto on it. We didn't even get to the discussion that Clay Holmes is going to be a starter, but we'll talk about that another day. They need work in the rotation, and they need another bat. They probably could use another starter or two. There is work to do. But Juan Soto definitely makes his team better. I think now the pivot, I don't even want to call it a pivot. Now you turn to Pete Alonso. Heyman said it last week that I don't understand how. Getting Juan Soto improves their chances of retaining Pete Alonso. I don't know how.
I feel like that's just Boris talking.
Alonso is a Boris agent, and I'm sure he came up during these discussions. But if Alonso loves being a Met, and that's what he said, and he sees that they signed Juan Soto, maybe he won't hold out as much. Like, if the Mets give him a fair deal to what other teams offered him, he'll come back. But I think re-signing Pete Alonso is priority number one.
We didn't even mention Roki Sasaki officially got posted.
That too. Roki Sasaki is posted. Probably not going to sign until January. 45-day window.
January 23rd is the final day.
Right. And I believe the international free agent year is over in little more than a week, and then it resets. That's when all the teams get their money back and yada yada. So that is something to monitor. How big players are the Yankees and Mets going to be?
One thing too is I do not want Taylor Scott or
Tanner.
Tanner, yes.
Yeah.
I don't want him at all. I don't think that the Yankees were not really that in on Josh Hader. Yeah. I don't see them being in on
Tanner Scott, yeah.
Especially they didn't really make a trade for him.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Pete Alonso is priority number one, and 1A rotation is 1B. Everything else will fall into place. But yeah, now that the Soto thing is over, I pray that Pete Alonso stays a Met. Obviously, if it's one or the other, I love Pete. Juan Soto's the better player, the better hitter.
Mm.
But yeah, this team still needs work. They are better than what they were 24 hours ago. And we'll see what David Stearns does next. This is the largest contract David Stearns has ever given out.
I mean,
how much of that? Yeah, obviously. How much of that was Steve Cohen? Probably a lot.
I don't think David Stearns had anything to do with this.
Yeah, he was probably just there.
This was Hal Steinbrenner versus Steve Cohen. This was not Cashman versus Stearns.
So we'll see what he does. But that's really all I got. If you had anything else, but that being said, the winter meetings are just getting started. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more news. thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. As always, remember to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts so you never miss an episode. Leave us a 5-star rating. We really appreciate it. Helps us a lot. Follow us on our social media accounts at Triboro Podcast, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. And again, the offseason's just getting started. There's going to be a lot more moves in the next coming days, I would think. Not just for the Mets and Yankees, but for the baseball world as a whole. So hang on to your butts. But Juan Soto's a New York Metropolitan. Sorry. Thank you guys, and we'll talk to you next time.